Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. It's Saturday morning. I got nothing to do, so I figured let's talk about some records, some new records. Well, new to me at least. Yeah. So let's kick it off with a couple of newer ones from that were released by Ugly Pop Records. Simon from Ugly Pop, it's got great taste. He's been releasing records for quite some time. Um, Always a winner. He stopped for a while though, which kind of sucked. But now he's back, full steam ahead. Can't keep a good man down. So we'll start off talking about the new Golden Shitters 7-inch Love Blows. I've talked about Golden Shitters before. They're from Hamilton, Ontario. There's people in here from Anxious Pleasers, the Vapids, Flesh Rag, Sam Coffee and the Iron Lungs, the Dirty Nil, etc., etc. What you get here is say that you mulched up like the Ramones, the Spits, the Marked Men, and then you just like mashed them together and formed a new band, a distinct new band though. It's not like they're copying those bands I mentioned, but if you're a fan of those bands I mentioned, then you're most likely going to enjoy Golden Shitters. Um, just a fun band, great live band. Um, they had a 12-inch before this, which was equally good. They have a new 12-inch coming out called Brutal Planet. Should be out any day now on Ugly Pop. And then they have a European tour coming up. So if you live in Europe and you see that Golden Shitters are coming around your area, then definitely go check them out. It's definitely worth your while. Um, yeah, yeah, Golden Shitters, check them out. If you like the Spits and stuff like that, the Ramones, like I said, Marked Men, that kind of shit. Just if you mashed all those together, that's what you get. Golden Shitters. Next up, new one from a Toronto band called Cult Crime. It's the Gone Too Long, backed with Stomping on Your Flowers single. Like I said, band from Toronto. I've never seen them, unfortunately. I plan to change that as soon as possible. Uh, so I don't know much about them. I do know that there's they feature an imploder. There's at least one golden shitter in this, as far as I know. But other than that, I'm kind of clueless. Uh, Good band. Like musically, it kind of reminds me of like an early '80s like Western American band, like something like say the Adolescents. But there's also like a heavy kind of just a modern garage punk feel to it. So, I mean, if you had one of the newer, you know, garage punk bands and they just decided to try and play some stuff in the style of the Adolescents, it would probably sound something like this. Um, Again, a totally distinct band. It's not like they're ripping those bands off, but it's just that's the vibe I get from it when I listen to it. They also have a 12-inch coming out soon on Ugly Pop. It should be out any day now. I think it's coming out the same time as the Golden Shitters 12-inch. So I've pre-ordered them both, so you'll see them again on here. But I suggest that you order them yourself uh, because they're both great bands. So yeah, Cult Crime. Next up, Suicide Records. Right there. Thanks, Dave, for the shirt. Um, Dave Brown, great taste. Dude does not release any bad records. And I respect that. So here he has a new split. Misanthropic Minds from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And a band from Finland, from Oulu, Finland, called Häpeä. Misanthropic Minds, I've discussed before on the channel. It's Dave who does Suicide Records. He was also in like Capital Death and Career Suicide and among others, Alienation. And Cody, who was in Bougie Boys and pretty much any other hardcore band that's come out of Halifax in the last 10, 15 years. Um, this record fucking rules. it's definitely going to be one of my top, probably one of my top 5 of 2025. It's still early in the year, but I can tell that because this rules. Misanthropic Minds, just straight out of the gate, feverishly angry, like just, you know, unrelenting. Um, but the thing, and I've mentioned this before when I've talked about them, they have this thing about them where it's like a line of feedback and noise that just kind of rides just, just in the background of the music that they're making, and it adds this kind of a dirty feel to it, which I quite enjoy. But yeah, it's kind of hard to. Hopefully, I've explained that properly. But yeah, it's just this weird, like, noisy line that just hangs in the background of their music, and I really enjoy that. And it's kind of different. Like, there's lots of bands that are, noisy and utilize feedback to their advantage and whatnot, but not like this. It's different, it's distinct, and I like that. Now Häpeä, I'd never heard of before. This is they're a little more subdued than Misanthropic Minds. Like, they're a fast hardcore band, but they're like a little more laid back, but way more bass driven. The bass playing on this is really, really good. And the vocals are they're very strained, but strained in a way that when I hear them, I can instantly go, yeah, that guy's from Finland. It just sounds like a Finnish hardcore band, and surprisingly, it is a Finnish hardcore band. So yeah, Häpeä, very, very good. Not as crazy as Misanthropic Minds, but who is? So yeah, this is a fantastic record, and I suggest that you all get it. If you're into fast hardcore, it doesn't get any better than this, really. So yeah, y'all should be thanking Dave for putting this shit out. And then to further emphasize his coolness, Dave sent this defect variant of that record, limited to 40 copies. It's basically the stickers were put on the wrong side, so he just sent them out to people that pre-ordered. So there you go. Cool. Collector scum. Okay, next up. This is from 1995. It's a band from Quebec. A band called Union of Uranus. Now, Union of Uranus featured Yannick, who went on to be in His Hero Is Gone and eventually Tragedy. He ran the label that this was on, a label called The Great American Steak Religion, which eventually became Feral Ward, which is, better known to most people. But yeah, like, band from Quebec, they were, around 95, so you're back in that kind of like emo, screamo kind of era, and these guys fit into that, but they're different. Like, it's pummeling, rhythmic, more so than most, tighter. The songs are better written. The vocal interplay is great. Like, they're just dueling back and forth, and it's like the vocals are like overlapping and just screamy, and it's almost hypnotic. It's almost like, even though black metal wasn't really discussed at this point in time, it almost has like an early black metal feel at times. The guitar leads in this are they almost tell a story on their own. Like, they're detached, and it really adds to the feel of the song. It's not like it's just wasted, and it just seems like everything in their music was done with purpose, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, great band. I had this before, and I traded it because it was everywhere. I figured I would just get another copy, but as soon as I traded it away, I didn't see another copy. So I saw this one recently when I was in at Dr. Disc in London, Ontario. So, or Dr. Disc, what the fuck am I talking about? Grooves used to be Dr. Disc. But yeah, gatefold, double 7-inch. Yeah, I also have this on a 12-inch, but it originally came on the double 7-inch, so I wanted that one. So, whatever, done. Union of Uranus. And then lastly, the polar opposite of Union of Uranus. It's on Broken Records from 1995. It's J Church. It's the Ivy League College 7-inch. J Church, very, very melodic, almost a pop punk band, but just not corny like a lot of pop punk is. Led by a gentleman named Lance Hahn, who had previously been in a band called Cringer, who sound similar to this. Lance Hahn unfortunately passed away in 2007, I believe. He had some kind of a kidney issue, and it ended up killing him. Like I said, melodic punk band. His lyrics are awesome, and his delivery is more in the like talking sung style. Like it's not, he's not like belting it out, like singing it, like, you know, giving his all, but he just talks with like a singing cadence, if that makes sense. And it's like he just tells stories, and I just find that interesting. So yeah, unfortunately he's no longer with us because his bands were great. I buy everything I can when I see J Church stuff. I always buy it, but I don't see it very often, and therefore I don't have much. And they have like a large recorded output, but I don't have nearly enough of it. This one's got 3 tracks: Ivy League College, The Band You Love to Hate, and Mary Provost. So yeah, Broken Records, J Church. All right, now on to the big records. Here's one from 2024 on La Vida es un Mus. It's I've talked about this band several times on here, from Athens, Greece. It's the newest Chain Cult record, Harm Reduction. Now, Chain Cult, very sad, sacky sounding. They sound very alone. You know what I mean? They're like a you know, like a ride on the bus in the rain when you just got dumped by your significant other. You know what I mean? It's just sad sounding music, and they're very good at doing it. I saw them not too long ago, and they were really good. Although one of their friends, one of the guys that came with them, was like 13 feet tall and figured that he had to like stand in front of everybody and block everyone's view, which was pretty fucking annoying if you ask me. But especially for us kind of short fellers. But yeah, and every time there's a new Chain Cult record, it always takes me a while to warm up to it, which is kind of funny because their stuff it's all basically the same thing. Like, you know, they just their style doesn't change a whole lot, but it just takes me a while to warm up to it. And this one, I'm still warming up to it. Like, I like it, but I don't like it as much as I think I'm going to eventually. I just have to, you know, be in the right mindset when I throw it on, and then it will be then that will be achieved. So yeah, Chain Cult, Harm Reduction, Greece, La Vida es un Mus. Now next up, brand spanking new record. I think a few of these were released as like advanced copies in 2024, but primarily this is a 2025 record. It's a band from Boston. I have 2 of their 7-inches already, but this is the LP. It's Nightmare Agitators by the Massacred. Like I said, band from Boston. People in this band played in like Chain Rank, who were great. Scapegoat, Coward. Yeah, it's really, really good. I find that a lot of the bands in the Boston hardcore scene, a lot of them, it's ingrained in them to have a bit of an SSD feel, and this is no exception. Like, there's a little bit of SSD in here. Like Chain Rank, who you know, somebody in this band played in. Chain Rank might as well have been SSD. Like, they sounded a lot like them. This isn't quite that. heavy with it. Like you can hear it, but it's not like crazy. But moreover, this sounds a lot more like UK 82 hardcore. Yeah, like in the guitar, I hear a lot of the Exploited for some reason, and I hear some of the kind of noisier, kind of dirty, dirtier sounding bands from the UK 82 genre, like bands like The Insane, stuff like that. I hear that in here, but yet there's also the occasional kind of passage in the songs that has like an oi feel. So they kind of cover all the bases in the UK 82 genre, but it still retains like an American hardcore feel as well. So yeah. Now having said that, this record is awesome, and it will probably be one of my favorites of the year as well. And you should definitely get it if get it before get it before it's gone. It's on Active 8 Records. I don't think their stuff stays around too long usually, so I would definitely get it if you can. It's the Massacred. Nightmare Agitators. Some good shit right there. All right, next up, here's one from like 2022, I think. Yep. And it's a joint release between Feral Kid Records and Swimming Faith. It's a band called Science Man. Nines Mecca. Now, I'd seen Science Man before. I have one of their earlier LPs. This band features people that played in Radiation Risks, who were awesome. I showed their record like, I don't know, a few years ago anyways. Saw them play a few times, and then they broke up, and then their singer John came back with Science Man. Now Science Man is, I would say this is, to just describe it in a nutshell, I would say it's garage hardcore. I mean, they're definitely a hardcore band, but they have that garagey punk feel. And Radiation Risks were much the same. But these guys turn it up a little bit. Like, this band's always seems like they're on the verge of like blasting off into fucking space or something. John's a great front man. He's kind of like a psychotic carnival barker kind of. His stage presence is great. He's all over the place, and he's a hell of a guy. Nice fella. Now it's not all like fast and crazy. There's some parts where they slow down and they kind of get repetitive and just weird, for lack of a better term. But then you can guarantee they're always going to launch right back into the garagey hardcore stuff. So yeah, this band, I feel that they're overlooked a lot, but don't misjudge them. This band is great. So yeah, I just saw them like a month ago, a few weeks ago, whatever, right around the time of the Super Bowl, and yeah, they did not disappoint. It was good to see them again. So yeah, fucking Science Man, Nines Mecca. Get that stuff. All right, next one is a band from Chicago. A band that used to play around here all the time because they were friends with Mike, who runs Speed City Records. I probably never would have heard them if it wasn't for him. He got them to play up here a few times. And back in 1993, they had this CD. I picked it up. I loved it, but it was never available on vinyl, which that just doesn't sit well with me. So finally, now in when was it? When did it get released here? 2023. It finally got a vinyl release, but it still is. It's expensive, like for a record, So I just kind of didn't buy it. But I really, really like that CD. And I don't even own a CD player now, so I pretty much, it forced my hand and I had to pick it up. So we're talking Apocalypse Hoboken, Superincredibleheavydutydudes. Like I said, they played here a few times. I saw them. We went to a fest and saw them. Hung around with them a little bit. Nice people. Still occasionally talk to the singer on Facebook. But yeah, great band. And I'm really glad this finally got a vinyl release. The label's called like Beehive Park. Yeah, which I I don't even know what the hell that is, but yeah, Apocalypse Hoboken, Super Incredible Heavy Duty Dudes. It's just like basically meat and potatoes punk. Like, I mean, there's no, it's melodic, but it's not like pop punk melodic. It's very snotty vocals. He's a very good front man as well. He's very entertaining. But yeah, they just like, yeah, it's a good melodic, straight up punk band. And I couldn't be happier that it has a vinyl release finally. All right, the last one. This is from 1988. It's a British band. I'd heard of this band for years, since I was a kid. In fact, they've been around forever. I always just kind of counted them out as just being like another peace punk band, you know, something like Zounds or, you know, Crass or, you know, Thatcher on Acid. They may be closer to Thatcher on Acid than those other bands. But I had never actually heard them until now. And I'm talking about the Apostles. Like I said, this is 1988. The record is called The Acts of the Apostles in the Theater of Fear. It's on Acid Stings. Now, Mike, that does the Analog Attack YouTube channel, he also is the host of the What Are You Listening To live stream that's on every Friday night on his channel that I've been on a few times. He champions this band. He knows the main guy. I think the guy's name's Andy. I could be wrong. But he used to like correspond with that guy a lot. So he knows a lot more about this band than probably a lot of the members do, I would assume. It's an intimidating band because their output is massive. Like they've just got a ridiculous amount of releases. A lot of them are cassettes and stuff. Like, it's one of those ones where if you were to get into it, you just wouldn't know where to start. And Mike's assured me that this is not the best place to start, but it's kind of one of those beggars can't be choosers situations because I've never seen another one of their records. This is the only one I've ever seen. It was at one of our local shops and it was cheap, so I grabbed it. The only thing I've ever heard otherwise that had to do with them is I have a 7-inch by a band called Unit that has one of the members in it, but I don't even remember what it sounds like. I know I own it. It's in one of my boxes. But basically, this doesn't sound like a lot of what I would think of when it comes to like UK, you know, early 80s peace punk or whatever. It's way more experimental than I expected. It's listening to it. It's almost like you're trapped in a nightmare full of painfully British people that sing and talk out of tune or out of key. Like it's just, it's annoying, but you can't tear yourself away from it. And I'm still not entirely sure whether I like this band, but I know I don't hate them. But it's going to take a lot more listening for me to endear myself to them. Or, you know, I don't know. They're a really, really odd band, and I wasn't sure what to expect, and I'm still not sure what to expect. But they're kind of one of those bands that I feel that their playing ability is in reality is better than the playing ability that they put across. Like, it seems almost like they're dumbing themselves down, but I kind of don't think they are. Maybe they are. I don't know. But yeah, weird band, weird experimental British band that I'm gonna have to buy more of their releases. If I see any more, I'll pick them up because the jury's still out on this. I'm usually not kind of stumped on stuff, but this one, I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. So yeah, the Apostles. So yeah, that's it. You might kind of like it. You might kind of not. I don't know. The next videos I'm gonna do, well then I'll do one next week because I just got a package from the illustrious Dr. October. I always love when he sends me packages, so I'll do a video next weekend. and show you what he sent me. And then any videos after that, there's going to be a 25% tariff on it. It's you know, it's got to be done. It's necessary for the state of my well-being. So have a good weekend.